because Britain is waking up today to Trump's tariffs and a chilling message. There will be blood.
Now, that is the warning from investment firm JP Morgan, who claim the odds of a global recession have spiked from 40% to 60%.
The trigger? Well, that 10% minimum levy slammed into place at 5 a.m. this morning, capping off a brutal week for global markets.
Oh, yesterday, America and China declared a trade war. And this morning, Sir Keir Starmer is reportedly in a bid to secure a deal with the United States.
As part of that, it's expected President Trump will be invited to meet the King at Balmoral and play a round of golf at the President's Resort in Scotland.
Well, let's get more with our former Special Advisor, Jennifer Powers. Jennifer, welcome.
Good morning.
It's a bit like Stephanie Powers, but Jennifer Powers.
Well, we have this conversation every time.
Do you say that?
Yes, we do.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought I was the first one to think that up.
Sorry.
You are, yes, the first person ever. No, I'm afraid it's quite age-specific. So young people never make this.
They don't understand.
Make this comment because they've never seen Heart to Heart.
I used to love that. It wasn't wider. But listen, let's get to it then. When you look at the way the tariffs are applied, it looked like we had an equal tariff because he had a low 10%, it was 10%. It didn't feel like much was happening. But actually, he's used a very strange formula, and now that 10% does actually mean a lot more. Can you tell us more about what it means?
Well, it's an unprecedented global trade war that Trump has initiated. I guess we shouldn't be surprised because he talked about this and about refashioning the global economy during his campaign. But like a lot of things with Trump, we never know how literally to take him. And in this case, he's been as good as his word and has taken this unprecedented action. And as you said, due to Brexit, we've actually had the benefit of having a 10% tariff across the board as opposed to the 20% that the EU is getting. But having said that, 10% is still worse than
10%.
nothing. And so this will have, if it remains, serious ramifications.
Well, that's the important element to this. I mean, everyone else is fighting back retaliatory tariffs, if they're not imposed, at least being threatened. The UK is playing it very, very calmly.
I used to have to use the razor that my ex-girlfriend used to shave her legs. It scratched me and it made me feel weird. But fear not, because Manscaped is back with a game changer. This isn't just any old shaver. We're talking about the Chairman Pro Electric Foil Shaver with 2 interchangeable skin-safe blade heads. One for that baby smooth look and another when you want to keep it a bit rugged. Get this, it's waterproof. You can use it in the shower, by the pool, or even while scuba diving if that's your thing. This beauty runs for 75 minutes on a single charge. That's enough time to shave your face, your mate's face, and still have juice left over for touch-ups. You'll also get their Power Shave Gel for a proper wet shave experience, and a face shave soother to keep your mug looking fresh and irritation-free. It's like having a barber in your bathroom, minus the awkward small talk. Click the link in the description and use the code GBN for a whopping 20% off and free shipping with the code GBN at manscaped.com. Join the 11 million blokes worldwide who trust Manscaped. Your face will thank you, and so will your wallet.
Yes.
Which a lot of people are saying is indicative of a deal.
Well, I have to give credit to the Starmer government, not something I'm prone to do.
Oh, come on, he's done nothing.
Well, in the sense that he's
there.
not retaliated, he's, as you said, Stephen, taken a very calm approach. We can only hope that he manages to get a deal, because that would be better for all of us. It would be better for the economy.
Look, what can he do? Of course he can't do anything. His front bench have literally called Trump a neo-Nazi sympathising sociopath, which is not helpful. And they've, at some point, even Peter Mandelson called him dangerous. They've all said something awful, and now they have no power. They've disemboweled themselves of any power at all. So they literally have to sit down and just suck it up.
Well, it does teach us all a lesson, doesn't it? That we should be careful what we say, because we never know if we're going to be in a incredibly important transatlantic trade discussion in our future lives. But no, seriously, so far, I think the government is doing the right thing. As you say, remains to be seen whether we do get a deal, particularly worrying for whiskey producers and car manufacturers here in the UK, which are 2 of the industries that would be most hit if this 10% tariff remains. But I think there's a larger problem too, which is, does this create a negative spiral globally? You know, all these tariffs going on all these countries, what does that do to the overall global economy, which we could all reap the repercussions of that.
Which is what made Jeremy Hunt's comments yesterday or overnight last night very interesting when he said we should become Singapore on Thames. Lower taxes, lower welfare, smaller state, skilled workforce, because then at least if there is a global spiral, we're in a better position to take advantage of it.
Well, I don't know about the Singapore on Thames. However, I do agree with Jeremy Hunt that this is an opportunity for the UK to make serious and significant changes, to get its house in order, because nothing prompts creativity and innovation like a bit of a crisis. So whether the government can actually come good on that and make the changes necessary, big question.
The irony coming from Jeremy Hunt, who presided over a government who literally had the highest taxes we've ever seen until obviously this one. But, you know, it is ironic coming from him. So what can Britain do? Because we don't have any power. And also, how has this been received by the American people? Are they going, yes, well done, Donald, or are they going, hold on a minute, what have you done to us?
Well, that's a fascinating question. And I was reading yesterday that the latest Gallup polling shows that overwhelming number of Americans are actually against the trade war. So they're in favor of free trade. So it's very interesting to see that Trump's agenda on the border, for instance, has huge public support. A lot of the rolling back of DEI and woke has huge public support. But when it comes to his trade war, the public is not on his side. I mean, he's still committed. He's not backing down. However, there is this divergence between him and the public. So that's one to watch. And also how countries respond. Not just Britain, but how, China's a special case, but how some other countries choose to negotiate and what they might bring to the table.
Yeah, well, we shall see. Jennifer, good to see you, as always. We'll catch up with you a little bit later on. Let's talk to spokesperson for Republicans Overseas UK, Nora Lee Dodson. Good to see you this morning.
Good morning. How are you all?
You're wearing the opposite colours,
yes.
aren't you?
Well, yes, it's like a negative.
Green and white, white and green.
But what is fascinating with this is, as Jennifer pointed out, Trump may be, hugely popular when it came to the election, of course. Winning across the board.
Yes.
However, with this, some of his actions are very popular, but this isn't going down too well. Now, is this because people are feeling it in their pockets? They're bound to in the States.
I think you're absolutely right. We have to separate the state of the economy and the state of the markets. So if you listen to what Fed Chair Powell said yesterday, he said the economy is solid. Payroll numbers were very strong. And it's a wait and see right now in terms of what impact it will have on a global recession, on inflation. The Fed's not going to do anything right now. While Trump is calling for rate cuts, and if you look at the way the market's pricing things, stock markets have lost nearly $6 trillion in 2 days. I think it's about $10 trillion since Trump took office. And they're pricing in more rate cuts than anticipated, which is exactly what Trump wants, because then the cost of servicing our debt goes down. But it's still a wait and see. And if you look at what's happened overnight, Israel's already negotiating a trade agreement. Vietnam said we're lowering our tariffs to 0. Zelensky's come out and said it's not going to impact them. But I think more and more what you're going to see over the weekend is there's going to be a lot of discussions about these tariffs. And
it's a hell of a gamble.
It is a hell of a gamble, but look, Trump had a very strong mandate. He campaigned on peace. He came in really strong, started negotiating a peace deal. He campaigned on the immigration and the border issues, came in strong on that. He campaigned on bringing back critical manufacturing to the U.S., as well as dealing with supply chain vulnerabilities that we have with China or, pharmaceutical industries that are critical to the U.S. So he's got a bigger plan here, and he's very much of the mindset, keep calm and carry on.
Do you know what this is? I think this is just because there's a global order that has been disrupted, and they don't like it. They don't like somebody coming in and saying, you've been doing it all this way, there is another way. I actually think he's incredibly brave, and I would love to see some of the leaders in this country doing things that actually go against the world order, as it were, and support their own people. Isn't this actually brilliant for American industry? Because ultimately, a lot of those companies are now coming into America and setting their bases up there. This is fantastic for the United States in the long run, I think.
I think that's a very important point that you raise, is Trump is not being myopic. This is his last 4 years in power. He's thinking long-term for America. Let's bring back key industry that he thinks is important to the U.S. economy to have some economic sovereignty over it. He says, historically, we have had the lowest tariffs, 3.1%. So if you keep it in perspective, who's the one who doesn't believe in free trade? It's the rest of the world. And our economy alone, in terms of our exposure of our GDP to trade, it's only 11%. Europe is 52%. UK is 32%.
But the issue with it, and perhaps he has got this plan, and it's a gamble, but it's a longer term plan. Is it? You've got to wait, and you've got to wait. Well, it's got the potential to be good.
Yes.
The problem you've got is the general public, the voting public, don't like to wait when it's hurting them in the pockets.
Yes.
That's the risk here.
No, but you're absolutely right. I was having dinner with a friend last night who's looking at their portfolio. They work for a bank. They're like, oh, my stock's down 20% in 2 days. And it's very myopic thinking. But this morning I read, so TikTok, the sale was put on ice because of this trade war. But Trump is extending the deadline for a deal to get done. And ByteDance has said we're going to wait till the discussions on the tariffs. So they're expecting a resolution to this. So if Trump stays strong on these tariffs, I believe other leaders will come and negotiate a deal.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's quite impressive what he's done there, I have to say.
All right, Nora Lee Nodson, good to see you this morning.
Great to
very
see you
much
as well.
Indeed. It takes us to our poll of the day. Do you think the world is on the brink of a global recession? We'll bring you live results throughout the day.